Welcome back, Officers of the Republic. It's your Coruscant Underworld Police Chief APGAINS. I've heard from people in the know and not in the know and all of the places where they can either know or not know about kind of this smear campaign going on against Jabba recently. I've been outspoken on my views on Jabba, and I would say, obviously, they're correct. But I kind of want to defend him a little bit here today. Like, is Jabba the greatest thing since sliced bread? No, because you can make paninis, you can make sandwiches, peanut butter and jelly, stuffing, great. Sliced bread, fantastic. But Jabba's pretty good. I mean, is he a good first galactic legend? I think it's pretty obvious that he's not a good first galactic legend. Where are his strengths? He's great in PvP, at least temporarily has good PvE viability as far as resources are concerned. It's kind of more important to have Jabba if you're like post 9.5 or 8.59 million GP. The advantage you get from having Jabba isn't really realized until you're in an endgame player. And if you're an endgame player, you're probably spending money, so I guess you kind of just have Jabba because money, right? But like all of the benefits to Jabba don't really kick in for early and mid game players, which is why he's very obviously not a good first galactic legend. Second, like, is he, I mean, pre-Cal, was he kind of approaching JML as far as best second galactic legend, as far as the farming rotations that you can make and like how you can have different branches out to expand and stuff like that? He was making great headways. I was even succumbing to a lot of arguments about him being a really, really, really good second galactic legend. Obviously with a lot of recent changes and announcements and updates and stuff like that, he's lost a lot of viability, but I don't want to go so far as the people who have been saying that he's completely useless. I don't think he's completely useless. And a lot of the arguments were like, you know, with the frequency of raids being kind of set at 6 to 9 months, you know, you're not gonna have that long-term viability. Obviously, like, his viability in the raid is, I mean, I don't want to get cynical here, but I'm not going to treat you like children. I'm going to talk to you like adults. Like, your individual performance in raids is not super important to the resources you get, since it's based on your guild. And with the boxes kind of being fairly big chunks apart, in a lot of cases past a 25 mil box, like, the advantage that you would get directly from a PvE perspective, from a resource perspective, which is one of the big arguments for Jabba, it's not really there. It's not really something that matters. I know that's kind of hard for a lot of people to hear, especially like guild leaders. But like guild leaders, like, not everyone is vigorously going through two raids a week. Just like, man, you know, I'm going to drop everything for my Grand Arena and my account progression to make sure that I can get extra 500,000 in the raid. Like, that's just not happening. I hate to break it to you, and people always get pissed when I bring up like the fact of life, and like somehow it like irks them and they're sad and they don't like want to accept reality. But like it doesn't matter for the raids. And for like, what other PvE shit is there? Oh, he has like, I think he has like a couple more seconds of his little thingamajigger, this thing, the resource events. Like, are these resources I cannot overstate like that this doesn't matter. Like, this is like, I don't know if it's like a once a week or once every 2 weeks, or I don't know the frequency that this comes around. Maybe twice a month. I legitimately could not tell you, so I'm not going to argue on the frequency of this. But like, these resources, like, they're nice, but like, do these change the game in any meaningful way at all? No, they don't. Like, over multiple years, will it? Potentially. Like, 3 years from now, like, we'll have been getting this twice a month for 3 years, like, make a significant, well, actually, I'd say the longer the time horizon, probably the less valuable this kind of stuff is. Like, these are resources you can easily get from your like daily mod farm. It's not really that big a deal. And unless you're spending copious amounts of money, like, your mods are going to reach a point where like there's just not new places to put them, and the amount that you have to invest to get like a sizable difference is so much that this doesn't really move the needle. So a lot of the like PvE resource arguments to Jabba are just like completely like don't apply to anyone who's not like spending a lot of money or super endgame or anything like that. So I think that's pretty obvious, and we can kind of push that aside. But still, I don't think it's fair to categorize Jabba as completely useless. I still believe he has a very strong role, less strong than it was like 2 months ago, but still a very strong role as like GL number 2 or GL number 3. He shares the Jedi Knight Luke kind of link with JML, and for those of you guys who don't know, like the best like farming succession, like post Core 8 auxiliary, like at least one backbone, your first GL, your first S tier ship is Jedi Knight Luke, JML, you know, probably adding in a Profundity with like a little bit of Star Killer as a kicker, a little bit of Cal, and then like wrapping in Jabba as like GL number 3. Like that is like the perfect like roster construction that exists right now. And by the time you do that, like there'll be GL Leia and GL fucking Mando and all this other bullshit that will kind of change how those later game rotations work. But like, you know, he still fits in on the back half of like the best like mid game farming rotation to a point where like you could, I wouldn't even contest people saying like Jedi Knight Luke into Jabba, into Profundity, into JML, into Cal, into Star Killer, and some sort of amalgamation of that. Kind of flipping the whole thing on its head. Like there is a legitimate argument for that. So I don't want to, I want to kind of defend him to the point where like he is valuable and useful in mid-game farming rotations, but I still want to be realistic in the fact that a lot of the arguments for him are a little nonsensical for most people. Which I guess, I don't know. Is that considered a hot take? Is being reasonable, realistic about how the game actually works, how players work, and how your roster is constructed? Is being factual, realistic, and being a relatively reasonable person, is that a hot take these days? I don't know. Maybe APGAINS having some level of brain cells in a video is alarming to you guys. You're like, oh my god, APGAINS, I didn't know that you had access to brain functionality. Whoa, APGAINS, so cool. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of come to bat for my boy Jabba. I've kind of dug him in the past, and now that people are kind of going a little bit too far in their detest for the old jabbers, I just kind of wanted to peel back the Iron Curtain and defend him a little bit. I want to make sure that we have an accurate appreciation for all players, kind of like what we did back in the day with like Lord Vader when the big Lord failure thing was going on. It's like, it's not that he's a failure, it's that you have to like understand where all of these characters fall in terms of their value, in terms of their power level, in terms of all of the other bullshit in the game. It's very, very beneficial for your long-term farming to have a realistic understanding of where everything in this game falls, right? Because if you overvalue or undervalue stuff, you're not going to be able to build a good account. So that's kind of the purpose of this video, is to kind of recenter everyone's opinion on what Jabba is, what he can do. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna go sleep and then work for like 18 hours. So as always, I love you, and I'll see you later. Oh, really quickly, I don't know if anyone's watching here, but we might go visit Arnold. So stay tuned for that. Bye-bye.